I could be wrong. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to begin our service this evening on page 10 with a little Hine Matov. Feel free to take a seat and join in. Hine Matov u'manhayim shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manhayim shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manhayim shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manhayim shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet ahim gam yachad.
Hine Matov, which means how good it is for us to be here together tonight, because we're joined together as a Kehillah, we're joined together as a community, as a congregation to welcome in Shabbat. Welcome especially to our guests from Blessed Trinity. Great to have all of you with us tonight. We are going to start off with the lighting of our Shabbat candles, which are right here in the middle. And I didn't ask anybody to light them. Would anyone like to light them? Carol, thank you. I thought I could count on you. We're on page 2 in our prayer books. If you're not used to a Jewish prayer book, they go the correct way, from right to left. Not backwards like English. Amen. On page 9, at the bottom of the page, we continue. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God.
Okay, for our next song, we'll be on page 340. Picked one with only 3 words, so maybe our new friends that are visiting can take home a new song. They are in Hebrew, but there's Hebrew transliterated into English. The words are Hevenu, Shalom, and Alechem. Hevenu, Shalom, Alechem. Top of page 340, let us bring you peace. Hevenu, Shalom, Alechem. Hevenu, Shalom, Alechem. Hevenu, Shalom, Alechem. Hevenu, Shalom, 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 Alechem. Back to the beginning. Same thing repeats a few times. Hevenu, Shalom, Alechem. Hevenu, Shalom, Alechem. Hevenu, Shalom, Alechem. Heivenu shalom, shalom, shalom alechem. Heivenu shalom alechem. Heivenu shalom alechem. Heivenu shalom alechem. Heivenu shalom, shalom, shalom alechem. Heivenu shalom alechem. Heivenu shalom alechem. Heivenu shalom alechem. Heivenu shalom, shalom, shalom alechem. Wasn't too bad, right? Yeah, easy enough. Join in. If you like to sing.
So, some of the regulars are probably thinking, tonight services are beginning at 7:30, but on all other Friday nights, services begin at 6:45. Why is this Friday night different from all other Friday nights? You know, up until like last year, all of our services were pretty much at 7:30, and then we did a little survey and we changed them to 6:45, and then some of the people who really like 7:30 said, "Is nothing sacred?" And I was thinking, well, funny you should mention that. And then now that we're at 6:45, and we're coming back to 7:30 because once a month we kind of agree to do 7:30. It's feeling almost like my body is telling me it's oneg time, but I look at my watch and I'm thinking it's not oneg time, it's Shabbat, it's service time. So, you know, whichever one it is, the important thing is 6:45, 7:30. When we talk about sacred time, Shabbat, the Sabbath, our tradition gives us, Jewish tradition gives us a few different reasons for it. The first reason listed in the Bible is because God created the world in 6 days, rested on the seventh. We want to be like God, so this is one thing we can imitate. Another one is we were slaves in the land of Egypt, and a little bit more on this later, but the whole story of that is we're not slaves, and nobody should be a slave, and that means taking some time off. That the worth of our lives isn't just measured in how productive we can be, what we can do with our lives, what we can build, what we can produce, what we can do for somebody else, but rather that we ourselves are worthy of a little bit of rest and a little bit of a break, and we call the weekend holy. Don't call Monday or Tuesday holy, not unless it's a holiday, but the weekend, that's something sacred, that's something special. So we're going to continue on with our service now by actually taking a bit of time for quiet. I find that it's helpful just to kind of transition from the school week, the work week, the busy week, into the weekend, into Shabbat, into holy time, to slow things down a little bit, give our minds the ability to stop worrying, as much as we're capable of that anyways, to think a little bit more about we're here, we're with people we like, people we care about, in this sacred space, at this sacred time. We continue quietly as we transition into Shabbat. And this is our chance to check in with one another. Whether you're in person or if you're online, I can see you. If anyone would like to share anything significant or special from either the past week, something you're looking forward to in the week ahead, I would love to hear what's going on. Carol. 28. Happy birthday. There. I know. When my wife turned 29, her mom turned 39. My wife turned 39, her mom turned 49. We're a little past that now, but happy birthday to her.
I get to do Devar Torah at
Nice.
Nice.
Very cool. Our local Sephardic synagogue. What are you talking about?
Roswell
Sandy
Road.
Springs.
Sandy's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got a little bit of a Sephardic. A little Sephardic. Did you bring your Devar Torah tonight? You want to give it? Okay.
I'm going to do a practice run.
I could have taken the night off. What happened in my house? Oh, yes. Asher is now 6. Yes, he went from 5 to 6, which means 7 is next. It's getting old. I know. Remember the first time I was here, he was a baby. He's 10 months old the first time I was here. Not the baby anymore. All right, anyone else? Anyone online? Okay. Let's continue on with our service on page 20 in our prayer books. The song is called Lecha Dodi. Lecha means come, Dodi means my beloved. And it's a song welcoming Shabbat. It kind of imagines Shabbat, the Sabbath, a little bit like a bride who's coming in. And we're all amazed. When we get to the last verse, verse 9, at the bottom, the custom is to rise and face the doors to welcome in the Sabbath. But we'll do that when we get to verse 9. We continue on page 20 with Lecha Dodi.
All right, tonight we're going to be doing verses 1, 5, and 9. La 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 likrat likrat ka pande pande Shabbat nekabela lecha lecha dodi likrat kala pande pande Shabbat nekabela shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmiyanu el ham yachad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem al tiferet liti la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela lecha lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri Kiva orech kumi uri shir daberi Kavod Adonai Adam la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala panei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise.
We rise and we face the entrance for the last verse.
Boi v'shalom ateripala Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola Tol emuneam segula Boi chala la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabela Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabela.
Please remain standing. We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitgadol v'yitgadosh shemei Rabba.
Amen.
B'madi v'rach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei.
B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, ubizman kariv.
Ve'imeru.
Amen.
Yehi shemei Rabba mevarach. Le'alam ulol me'almaya.
Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach. V'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shemei dekudashah.
Brichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata.
Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma.
Ve'imeru.
Amen. Page 28.
Yadai-dai-dai-dai, 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 yadai-dai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yadai-dai-dai-dai, yadai-dai-dai-dai. Yadai-dai-dai-dai, yadai-dai-dai-dai. Yadai-dai-dai-dai, yadai-dai-dai-dai. Yadai-dai-dai-dai, yadai-dai-dai-dai.
Please be seated. Page 31, we continue at the top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heavens span to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, eternal our God, who loves your people Israel. Page 34, we continue. Please rise. We continue with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
Page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shitecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shokbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letodafot b'neinecha u'chtatam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Please be seated. Page 39 at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. On page 40, we have our song, Mi Chamocha. These words come from the song that Moses and Miriam and the Israelites sang as they were leaving slavery in Egypt. When the Sea of Reeds was parted and they were crossing over, they sang this song, and that's where these words come from. It's a song for freedom. It's a song for redemption. page 40.
מי כמוך פעילים אדוני, מי כמוך נדור בקודש, מי כמוך פעילים אדוני, מי כמוך נדור בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסיף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסיף אלה. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? One more time. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Adonai.
Page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
Page 45. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Please rise, page 46.
Adonai
Ufia
Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Hey Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora,
El Elyon,
Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Hasei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magin.
Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarat.
Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Ata Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, Umorid HaGashem, Mechal Kel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umidom Melech, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Ata Lechayot HaKol,
Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol.
Ata Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kedoshim b'chol yom Yehalelucha Selah. Baruch atah Adonai.
Please be seated. Page 57 in the middle of the page. You're welcome to join in with me. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadcha, b'yirah na'avod. We continue now with silent prayer.
Oh, say shalom. Bimromav. Oh, say shalom. Bimromav. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Huyase, huyase, huyase shalom. Hu yaseh, hu yaseh, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, and bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, and bring peace down. May the one who bring peace down, and bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Bimromav. Oh, say shalom. Bimromav. Hu yaseh, hu yaseh, hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh, hu yaseh, hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh, hu yaseh, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
Our thoughts now turn to those who are not well, people who are sick, or people who are hurt. If anybody would like to share a name with us so that together we can keep them in our prayers, I invite you to do so as I come around the room. Leslie. You and Sarah. Carol Mabry. Carolyn Arkin, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Susie Lubell and Jenny Cipriano.
Thank you. If anyone online would like to share your name, please feel free to do so. If you would just unmute yourself first, please. Okay, we say, Misheberach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those who are not well. God, we ask that you bless them with a refuah shlema, a complete healing, refuah tanefesh, a healing of the spirit, refuah taguf, and the healing of the body. Baruch atah Adonai rofeh cholim. Blessed are you, God, healer of the sick. Together we say, Amen. On page 253, in the middle of the page, we find our song for healing.
Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, which means a Sabbath of peace. Welcome to everyone who's here with us today. I think it's wonderful that we've got some students from Blessed Trinity here. You might not know the story, but people who have been here for a while, they've heard my own family story that I grew up in an interfaith house, Catholic Jewish. And it goes back to 1929, actually, when my Italian Catholic grandmother married my Jewish grandfather, and all hell broke loose. Because in 1929, that wasn't really done very often. And when it was done, it wasn't exactly easy for people around them to understand why would a so-and-so want to marry a so-and-so, a such and such. The world has come a long way since 1929, and thank God for that. In 1964, the Vatican released a document called Nostra Aetate, which means in our time. And that document kind of laid, at least on the Catholic side of the thing, laid the groundwork for making it possible for Jews and Catholics anyways to come together and to come together in respect and understanding. We shouldn't take for granted good relationships. Took a lot of, unfortunately, sadly, a lot of centuries and tears to get to that point, but now we can thank God for the blessings of good relationships. Suppose I better tell you something about Judaism. Something for all of us. Every week we read a little bit from the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, Genesis through Deuteronomy. And over the course of the entire year, we'll read the whole thing. This week, we're towards the beginning of the book of Exodus. We started the book of Exodus last week. We're still towards the beginning of the book of Exodus. We'll continue on for it for another couple months or so. The story's really familiar. It's the story of how the Israelites were slaves in Egypt, and God had enough of that and said to Moses, go tell Pharaoh, let my people go, and there were some plagues and all this other stuff. It's one of the most, if not the most, central story that the Jewish people have in terms of how we see ourselves. You want to look at a biblical story, and there's plenty to choose from. There's a lot of good ones. But this story in particular seems to be at the center of Jewish self-understanding. We have a holiday, Passover, which will come in springtime, which is really devoted towards this story, but really the lesson that comes out of the story is one that gets repeated throughout the entire year. The lesson is what gets taught both in Exodus, later on in the next biblical book, Leviticus, which is, you shall love the stranger as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. It's a way of stating the golden rule. The golden rule gets phrased a lot of different ways. Love the stranger as yourself, love your neighbor as yourself, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Someone else put it slightly differently. But the idea is the same. Everybody's deserving of equal treatment. Everyone's deserving of dignity. Everyone's deserving of respect. In fact, there's a story that goes back 2,000 years ago. Now, are you getting a test on Judaism? No? One of you is and one of you isn't. Wow, that's not equal treatment, is it? Okay, yes or no? You are getting a test on Judaism. Okay, good. So, how old is Judaism? You're like, oh no, I haven't crammed for the test yet. What's that? Okay, you haven't started yet. Judaism's 4,000 years old. 2,000 years ago, Judaism was 2,000 years old. Most Jews 2,000 years ago lived in the land of Israel, and the big world power at the time was Rome. And Rome has a habit of moving in, whether they're invited or not. This was the Roman Empire. They controlled 25% of the world at the peak of the Roman Empire. Rome moves into the land of Israel where a bunch of Jews are living. And one of these Romans, I guess, decides, well, if I'm going to move from Rome and I have to give up my Italian food and I have to start eating pita and hummus, I should at least get to know the area a little bit, get to know the people who live there. So this Roman gentleman says, I need to learn something about Jews, Judaism, the local culture. So he whips out his phone and searches for a teacher and comes up with a guy, his name is Shammai, knocks on Shammai's door and says, I'm new to the area. Hello. Can you teach me something about Judaism? But I'm really busy. Can you teach it to me while you're standing on one foot? I can actually do that for like 15 seconds and then I have to put my foot down. The idea was he wanted it quick. Give me Judaism in Twitter form. What are they? Is it still 180 characters or is it? Now you can write a whole book, right? 200 something. A thread, yeah. Give me, give me a little bit, but tell me everything. Give me the spark notes, the cliff notes, the whatever. Shammai gets offended because remember, there's 2,000 years. He's asking him, explain Judaism to me. Explain to me 2,000 years worth of Jewish history. Explain to me 2,000 years worth of Jewish culture, Jewish language, Jewish belief, all that stuff. Tell it to me in 15 seconds. Shammai, great teacher he is a little impatient, gets upset, chases him away. Guy has to find a different teacher. Finds a different teacher. Second best teacher, maybe the first best. But somebody said first? You said first. Okay, well, he comes up on number 2 on the search engine. Knocks on his door, Hillel, his name is Hillel. Says, Hillel, same thing. Teach me everything. I've got even less time than before. Teach it to me in 10 seconds. Hillel says to this guy, what's hateful to you, don't do to anybody else. That's the whole of the Torah. That's all of Jewish teaching. The rest is commentary. Go and learn it. When you leave today and your teacher says, or you're thinking to yourself, what did I learn about Judaism? That can be like the top thing. That the center of Judaism is essentially the golden rule. Now, Hillel could have said some other things, right? He could have said, the most important thing about Judaism is we believe in one God. And we do, and that's important, but that's not what he said. He didn't say faith is the most important thing. He didn't say the Sabbath is the most important thing. He didn't say coming to temple is the most important thing. He said treating other people well. That's at the core of it. And we have so many stories in the Bible that kind of like lead to the same moral of the story. It starts with creation. God creates humanity, and when God's creating humanity, it says, and God created Adam in the divine image. Male and female, God created them. What does that mean? What does it mean to be created in God's image? At least the Jewish understanding of it is, that means that everybody is worthy of being honored to some extent. One of the 10 commandments says, don't make images of God or anything up in heaven or down below. Why aren't we allowed to make images of God? Because we already have images of God, people. That's the story of creation. That's the story of Genesis. If I'm created in the image of God and everyone else is created in the image of God, then the way to honor an image of God isn't to make something with our hands, it's to recognize the people around us, the divinity within them, the holy origins, God, of people, and to respect them that way. When we get to the story that we're reading now, which is from the book of Exodus, when the Israelites were slaves in Egypt, it's almost like a test. And the Egyptians failed it. The test is, can we treat other people well? And the Egyptians failed the test. Why? Because they're not living by the golden rule, I suppose. At least Pharaoh, people who work for him. You can't enslave somebody and be true to people. All people are created in God's image. You can't enslave somebody and believe or live by the golden rule. And the act of the Exodus is almost rectifying it. And then for us, the moral of the story, love the stranger as yourself. You know, what's a stranger? A stranger is somebody who speaks a different language than us. A stranger is somebody who worships differently than us, maybe looks differently than us. Somebody we don't know. Somebody who's got a completely different background. What do we have in common? Why should I care about that person? Why should that person care about me? And the Torah says you were strange. You were strangers in the land of Egypt, and look at how you were treated. We can't just say my group is going to get X and everyone else, I don't care. We're not allowed to say I don't care. Cain kills Abel, first 2 siblings. Cain kills Abel. God says to Cain, where's Abel, your brother? Cain says, am I my brother's keeper? Yeah. I mean, nowhere does it say that, but yeah. We are supposed to care about other people. concerned about their welfare. Take an interest in them, do something, help them out. So when we read this story right now, this isn't one of those stories where we have to dig really deep to try and find some sort of modern relevance. Sometimes we get to those. There's all sorts of stories about sacrifices and scaly skin and whatnot. You have to really figure out, like, what in the world does this have to do with anything? This isn't that. This is the core of it all. This is Judaism 101. Biblical religion 101. Love the stranger. You were strangers. And every year, especially at Passover time, Jews are commanded to say the words Avadim Hayinu. We were slaves. We were slaves in the land of Egypt, to remind us that whatever position, whatever fortunate, privileged position we find ourselves in today, at one time it was different, and it could have been different, and it could have been us. And so we're asked to do better, to be better. Shabbat Shalom. If all you remember about Judaism is the golden rule is the most important thing, that should at least get you a passing grade. If it doesn't, you can tell your teacher to call me. Okay, we are going to continue now with announcements. Tom Bryant, I believe. Robin Bledsoe. If at first I don't get it right. Robin Bledsoe is secretary of our synagogue. Let's see if I can turn this on for you. There we are.
Thank you. So, Shabbat Shalom. My name is Robin Bledsoe, and Tom, Brian, and I are tonight's representatives from the Board of Trustees. Brotherhood and Rafty will be going to Whirly Ball this Sunday, January 22nd at 1 p.m. RSVPs are required. Please see the weekly email or the website for more information. Join the Sisterhood on Sunday, January 29th at 6:30 p.m. at Alessio's in Roswell for dinner and game night. Pizza, salad, beer, and wine will be provided by Sisterhood. See the weekly email or the website for RSVP information. Scout Shabbat is Friday, February 3rd. If your child is a scout and wants to be recognized, please let Michelle Erstein know. We will be hearing from our Shinshin, who is an Israeli scout. Please join us on February 10th for a special Shabbat to honor our Brotherhood, Sisterhood, new members, and milestone membership anniversaries at our Kehillah. We will have a wonderful grilled cheese food truck, no charge, on site at 6 p.m. prior to the start of services at 7. We hope you can join us. If this is your first time joining us or you want more information about TKC, please see one of us after the service and fill out an information card so we can contact you. Please return your prayer books to one of us after the service and then join us in the social hall for oneg. Thank you. And it's a yummy oneg. And Leslie, you wanted to add something? One more. So, we are back to starting the upper block is on March 12th, and we're big turnout a couple years. So we're kicking it off again, and I've opened up the sign up for walk site, which is now up and running. So please feel free to register and spread the word. We'll be hearing about this nonstop for the next week.
Right.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
We mentioned next week we have a special guest. Steve Best will be joining me for a Shabbat service here. And a special guest, Devar Torah sermon by Tom, will be happening next weekend as well. 6:45 p.m. next Friday.
Okay. Oh, that's loud. There we are. Okay.
Oh, you're double mic'd.
Continue now in our prayer books on page 283. Excuse me, 282. The bottom of the page. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'teit gedula liyotzei bereshit, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא עשנו חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Page 293, we continue. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This week, we remember those who have recently died, including John Lindy, brother-in-law of Alan Abrams and Andy Abrams, and Sheldon Landman, uncle of Rhonda Flynn. We also remember those who have died at this time in years past, including Robert A. Lewitt, Jerry Anderson, Stephen Wachs, Betty Whiten, Charlotte Dreffen, Jay Gerstel, Edith Plotkin, Lucy Gold, Lillian Lashinsky, A. Philip Dinnan, Florence Stogel, Anna Itzkowitz, and Lydia Starr. If anyone else would like to share a name, someone that you're remembering at this time, please feel free to do so as I come around the room. Yes, Tom. Thank you.
Virginia Beskin.
Thank you. Anyone online would like to share a name, please feel free to do so. If you would just unmute yourself first, please.
Betty Arraghetti.
Thank you, Cookie. Page 294, we continue with Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala uv'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam almei almaya, yitbarach v'ishtabach v'itpa'ar v'tromam v'yitnaseh, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shmei de Kedusha, Brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran balma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. Please be seated. We continue now with Kiddush. And Motzi, you can follow along in your prayer books on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, b'ava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron l'maseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila, Lemikra Kodesh, Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu Vacharta, Votanu Kidashta, Mikol Hamim, Veshabat Kodshecha, Be'ava Uvratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tevon.
For our closing song, we're going to be on page 353. Salam or Od Yavo Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.